right, get up. Get up.
Some people are born into chaos and others create it. In the case of Shanika Grant, better known online as Independent Nah, it's a little of both. While many survivors of trauma grow to reject the pain they once lived through, others seem to treat it as a manual, repeating the same destructive patterns like clockwork. Shanika didn't just fail to break the cycle, she broadcast it.
All right, get up. Get up. Are you gay?
How you gonna ask me a question like that?
How did you marry Uncle? Baby, almost done. And then turn around and let a man finish.
With 10 children under her roof and 39,000 TikTok followers at her fingertips, Shanika turned dysfunction into content, feeding an audience tragedy in bite-sized clips. From neglect to manipulation to verbal mistreatment and questionable parenting tactics, this is a woman whose digital legacy reads like a cautionary tale for anyone holding a camera and a parental title.
Y'all living, yo. They call me a bad mama. Look what the I go through every day in this household trying to protect everybody in this goddamn house. I'm tired of the sitting here, man. Every day of my life, I'm doing whatever I can to provide for 10 kids by myself. And y'all can't team working this shit together. I need the help where it's due. This is supposed to be done right now, yo. Look at this mess, man. Look at the sink, man. Look at the mess. I still have to do this by myself. Huh? Call you on the phone and tell you to do this today, man. And you know why.
And 1, 2.
It should be hard out here trying to go out here and make $1 every day of my damn life when these bills are paid. And y'all running the internet and the light bill up. Shit ain't fucking free. I ain't got to pay everything you want to say and want, man. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired. Oh!
Let's explore the life of Shanika Grant, not for redemption, but for reckoning. Shanika Grant, born October 15, 1984, in South Carolina, first made headlines not for any accolades, but for her parenting, or lack thereof. With 10 children and an ever-present cell phone, she curated a life online that painted herself as an overburdened single mother fighting to survive. But underneath that narrative was a reality that looked much more like exploitation than struggle. Rather than shielding her kids from chaos, Shanika seemed to lean into it, treating their hardships as fuel for views. It wasn't just the yelling, the dismissiveness, or the refusal to properly feed or clothe her children. It was the indifference, the kind that makes people uncomfortable, the kind that makes you wonder, should someone step in? Spoiler alert, someone should have. While most mothers prioritize things like education, stability, or affection, Shanika's focus seemed firmly locked on Wi-Fi strength and live stream donations. TikTok became her therapy, her soapbox, her revenue stream, and unfortunately, her daycare. The kids? Background noise. Instead of protecting her children's privacy, she handed it to the algorithm. Instead of shielding them from ridicule, she exposed them, faces, fights, trauma, and all, without a second thought. Personal moments became public property, and boundaries were something the viewers cared more about than she did. At one point, she even enlisted her children to beg on camera, yes, beginning, for food, for water, for soda, for money. While that might have been heart-wrenching to some, Shanika didn't blink. It was all just another live stream. Much of Shanika's poor parenting is tangled in her long-term obsession with a man named Hayward, the father of 8 of her children, a man she welcomed into her life fresh out of jail, a man who eventually dealt drugs out of her Section 8 home, a man who, as she proudly reminded everyone, was hers first. Never mind that Hayward was married or had multiple girlfriends or fathered children with other women. To Shanika, her identity as his main was more important than the well-being of her children. She even wrote a song after losing her kids due to the chaos he brought into her home. The refrain, "How could love hurt so bad?" We don't know, Shanika. Maybe because you prioritized it over your children's safety. Let's talk priorities. On Shanika's TikTok, one of the most glaring inconsistencies is how much she indulges herself while her kids go without. Fast food mukbangs? Absolutely. Hair and nails done without fail. Victoria's Secret bras? Necessary. But when her children ask for snow cones at school, just $3 each, suddenly the budget tightens. She's quick to deny them, even scolding them for asking. Meanwhile, those same kids are often filmed wearing oversized, worn-out clothes, or worse, no proper clothing at all. In a particularly painful video, one of her kids cries out of happiness for getting a birthday meal from Zaxby's, not because it's extravagant, but because it was rare. Meanwhile, Shanika posts about bingo money. Of all her children, Nia, the eldest, is perhaps the most heartbreaking figure in this saga. Nia didn't ask to be a mother, yet she essentially became one. She worked jobs, paid bills, and took care of her siblings, all while enduring her own mother's manipulation. Shanika praised Nia's financial contributions, but rarely gave her the respect or space to be her own person. When Nia left the house without notice once, Shanika took to TikTok, not to worry about her child's well-being, but to scold her publicly for breaking household rules. The kicker? Nia was 21, and it wasn't concern, it was control. Shanika even filmed herself receiving $400 from Nia, and gleefully exclaimed she'd use it to pay her own bills and go shopping. In that moment, the role of parent and child was fully reversed, and Shanika didn't seem to mind. Taekwon, also known as Papa, didn't fare much better. According to Shanika herself, he began stealing and selling drugs at just 13 years old. He ran away from school, crashed his mother's car, and got involved in all kinds of dangerous activity. Shanika's solution? Yelling, complaining, occasionally blaming her own viewers. What she didn't do was take responsibility. Even as her son spiraled, she filmed monologues about how misunderstood she was as a parent, rarely acknowledging the environment that might have pushed him to act out in the first place. In fact, when Papa crashed her car under the influence, she seemed more worried about the vehicle than the boy. You'd think someone with 10 children would focus heavily on making nutritious, plentiful meals. Instead, Shanika's cooking content often featured barely enough food to feed a party of 2, let alone a small army of growing kids. Pork and beans with hot dogs? Sure, half-cooked yams and cold rice, that too, but only for the kids, for herself. Chicken wings, McDonald's, and takeout galore, all filmed from the front seat of her car.
If you got some. Alright. Go down and look.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. I used to watch. Yeah, that's just played out good. All her people that she know. No. How many bites y'all see her take? You already.
That. She would have come up here like, if you got some. Right. Go down and look.
Even worse, she once uploaded a video where her older daughter and she enjoyed Korean wings while her younger children ate ice. Literal ice.
Oh! Gotta put ice on it. Let me see. Let's see. Gotta put ice on it.
Should have flats. Roll through the fire like a Batmobile.
If you thought the food situation was bad, wait until you hear how she handles healthcare. In one disturbing video, one of her daughters had an abscess on her gums. Shanika's solution? Attempting to pop it with her fingernails on camera? No, there was no trip to the dentist, just some DIY dentistry and a live stream. Despite pleas from viewers to seek medical care, she refused. When it comes to her children's well-being, Shanika has consistently chosen visibility over responsibility. If you've ever wondered how 10 kids sleep in one household with barely any beds, look no further than Shanika's security footage. Yes, she posted it. Children laying directly on the floor. One child even appeared to be sleeping beneath a cupboard. These weren't moments of chaos. This was the norm. The home lacked furniture, basic cleanliness, and any semblance of comfort. Shanika would call it a little messy. Most would call it unlivable. If her parenting style had a soundtrack, it'd be yelling. She berates her kids regularly, tells them they stink, screams at them for eating in her car, all on camera. And when she's not shouting, she's exposing their most vulnerable moments. Tears, tantrums, even medical issues. It's what some call sharenting, sharing content about your children without their consent, often to their detriment. It's not just invasive, it's damaging. Children deserve dignity, and Shanika consistently denied them that. From denying her kids school snacks to shaming them for wanting new clothes, Shanika found ways to keep control, financial, emotional, and physical. And when her kids wanted to leave or grow up, she called it betrayal. She reminded Nia that she was still under her roof. She criticized her daughter for disappearing overnight. She even lamented that if Nia ever truly left, she wouldn't have help around the house anymore. That's not parenting, that's dependency masquerading as authority. And perhaps the most disturbing twist, Shanika once made a cryptic Facebook post suggesting she had to put her daughter on birth control because of what happens behind closed doors. It wasn't clear what she meant until people began speculating that something truly dark was happening in the household. There's a video where one of her sons appears to be exposing himself to another sibling in the background while she talks to the camera, seemingly unaware or unconcerned. It raises deeply troubling questions. If this kind of behavior is happening while she's filming, what's happening when the cameras are off? Now we could talk about Shanika's childhood, and yes, it was rough. She claims her mother despised her, called her ugly, treated her like an outsider because of her skin color. She says she was left behind, locked in laundry rooms, and emotionally neglected. But while those details may explain some of her trauma, they don't excuse what she's done to her own children. The cycle of abuse is real, but it doesn't absolve the abuser. Good question. Despite all of this, Shanika still has at least one child in her care, according to Reddit. There's even a change.org petition titled Save Those Children from Shanika Grant. But as of now, little seems to have changed. Monthly CPS visits were once mentioned in passing, but there's been no public indication of lasting consequences or meaningful intervention. And so the cycle continues. Shanika Grant is not just a struggling mother, she's not just a victim of her past, she is a cautionary figure, a person who turned neglect into content and suffering into an aesthetic. Her story isn't a redemption arc, it's a case study in how easily society can fail its most vulnerable, how systems can miss the signs, and how the internet can become a smokescreen for real-world harm. Let this be a reminder, just because someone shares everything online doesn't mean we know the full truth. But in this case, what we do know is more than enough to warrant concern. If you watched until the end, drop a comment and let us know what you think. Should CPS do more? Should platforms have policies about exploiting children for content? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the internet's most unsettling personalities.